Hey everybody, the wellness coach here. Wanted to do a quick video for you guys because there is, I think, a common perception that as the wellness coach, as somebody that you've seen doing Beachbody coaching and all these things throughout the years, I might give off the perception that I got my shit together, but it took a long time getting here. And I just feel like for specific folks out there that might be able to relate to my actual story of how I got here, it might help them to see themselves in a different light, as well as help them understand that achieving this kind of lifestyle that I've based now around fitness and being active is totally possible for anybody. My story goes all the way back to when I was a child. I was probably like 4. I think maybe I've told this story before, but I was 4 years old when I think I first started to notice the differences in my body versus other girls' bodies, which is crazy because I have no idea where that perception came from. But I very specifically remember sitting on the car seat in the back seat. My mom's driving. I'm with my friend in the back seat. We're like going to preschool or the grocery store or something like that. And in my 4-year-old mind, I realized, wow, her thighs are so much smaller than my thighs. And it was just something that kind of bothered me. I wasn't sure why. It's not something I talked about with my mother or my family or anything like that. I kind of kept it to myself. And that kind of insecurity just started to absorb into my skin more and more as I started to grow and to develop, and then getting into middle school. And we all go through those really awkward years. And once you start especially becoming a woman too, you're going through all these changes. And, I started to get all kinds of things. I started having these curves, and now I had these hips that went with my thighs. I was never a stick, ever. I'm still not a stick, and I will never be, and that's fine. But I was also starting to get things like stretch marks and cellulite and all these things that we really deem on our body to be these awful things, just because society has made us think that. And going from that kind of perspective, looking at myself and jumping into high school, and now you're dealing with boys and all that kind of stuff, man, it fucked with me. And I kept it quiet. I didn't speak to anybody about it. I had really skinny friends just always surrounding me. And it really messed with my head. I ended up taking summers when we would have our summer break, for 3 months, and I would just do a lot of running, and then I started counting calories. I had been working in a gym and had been reading up about this diet. It was like 3-apple-a-day diet, but it also gave you like calorie breakdowns for the day. I very specifically remember this, and that's kind of what started this rhythm of getting obsessed with food in order to control my body, which I thought would help feed my security in who I thought I was and in myself and how I perceived myself. It never worked. In fact, it actually ended up leading me into a pretty dangerous eating disorder. I would say it's more so orthorexia, which orthorexia is needing a very serious sense of control around numbers and around food, and what you're putting in your body. And if you lose that control, it really throws you for a loop. Like, you get anxiety, you sweat, you just feel awful about yourself because you've gotten to this point of, I'm counting all these calories, or I'm counting all, how many calories I burn in my workouts, or how many times I work out a week. And if I don't stick to it, I'm not worthy. And that was a really dangerous place to be. I was in that mindset for many years. I think what officially pushed me into about a 2-year period of dropping weight, probably 20 pounds, 25 pounds less than my normal weight. I lost my period for about 1.5 years. Who knows what type of internal damage I was doing to my body. I was bruising easily. I was getting hair on my stomach, like just that fine baby hair, like very much what you hear about anorexics. So I knew what I was doing wasn't good for my body necessarily, but I also didn't know how to stop it. And what sent me down that trail was how I really believed other people to perceive me and a little bit of bullying that I'm not sure anybody knew about in high school. But like there was 2 instances I think that really stick out to me. Actually 3. One was like, I remember my freshman year, somebody was IMing someone on the computer and I was in the other room and so-and-so was talking to this guy and then they're shooting some like messages back and forth. I'm like, well, tell him I said this. And then he shot something back at her. And what he said back to me was, yeah, well, tell Heather she's got cellulite. Dang, that hurt. And then fast forward like a couple years later, I had just had, a weird time doing a lot of schoolwork and keeping up with things. And I remember going prom dress shopping with one of my best friends. And I was extremely self-conscious that I ended up having like a temper tantrum and crying with my mother in the dressing room because I felt so disgusting in these dresses compared to the ones that my friend was trying on. I was having a temper tantrum at like the age of like 16. So that's cool. And then I also had this memory of, that always stuck with me, of a girl that ended up putting a note on my boyfriend's car, my boyfriend at the time. And she left a note saying that he should date her because his girlfriend is fat. So yeah, damn, that stings. And I know that a lot of us women, we go through a little bit of this and we may not say anything about it when we're growing up, but it can really mess with you in the long term if you really let it and if you don't have the tools in order to get past it. So that is what sent me down to this trail of like orthorexia and things like that. And once I ended up getting out of that stage about 2 years later, about, halfway through college, I ended up having a really, really tough time breaking away from calorie counting and controlling how much I was working out and all that type of stuff. Still continued to battle my body. So what happened instead is my weight ended up coming back plus more, and I was doing this up and down thing because I was still trying to get back to controlling it, which my body was then fighting against it. So that just set me into my 20s, just not really having a great relationship with food. And I was using cardio, that old school method. We're always taught, especially 80s and 90s, cardio to burn fat and all that stuff. But cardio, I learned, for me anyway, for my body, doesn't actually make me stronger. It doesn't shape my body the way it needs to be shaped. I started to pick up on some of these things once I decided I didn't want to feel like this anymore. I didn't want to be lost in this skin anymore. I had had a couple relationships where I just never felt sexy. I always felt less than in the relationship. And I'm sure that affected how I came out in those relationships too, and how I showed up. So I had it. I'd had a really bad breakup officially, like, I don't know, maybe I was like 27. Just a bad breakup. And it was like somebody I thought was going to be the one, and it just was not. And it tore me up inside, but I was like doing everything I could not to show it. And I just said, you know what, this is your opportunity now. If you didn't feel like a whole person in that relationship, this is your opportunity now to give back to yourself before you end up in another one. And that was about 4 years ago. So that was kind of the marking point of this evolution of change, which has now brought me to the Heather that you see today, which now, is running half marathons and signing up for Spartan races and doing the Beachbody coaching thing. And then now I'm not a Beachbody coach, but I have now been certified with Integrative School of Nutrition, and I'm now a certified coach, and I'm running my own wellness business. And I've gotten to this point slowly. It started off with, 4 years ago, just signing up for a half marathon and doing that and training for that with my friend and working through my emotions. And the training schedule was just so therapeutic for me. And then, coming into a community of people, which is kind of when I jumped into Beachbody, that we're all about support in each other and lifting each other up, and also speaking about nutrition, how to really fuel your body right, and how to fuel yourself for your goals, and also fit it into your lifestyle. And I just learned so much that it got me so excited and so interested. I was getting such great results, and I wanted to see how I could help other people. So that is why I ended up doing the coaching program with the Integrative School for Nutrition. And I have no regrets about my journey. I think that I've come this long way so I can be relatable to people, and so that I can help more people, more women especially, that are struggling with body image and struggling with their relationship with food, so that they can understand how their own body works, what their own body needs, and they can feed themselves properly, make peace with food, make peace with their life, build a life that supports them, build relationships that support them, so that they can get the body that they feel awesome in. It's not about being perfect. It truly is about being your own strongest self, cellulite, whatever, and all. We will always have our little demons, but every time we push a little harder against them, we get that much stronger. So that is my story, in case anybody is wondering how I've kind of progressed to be this girl that's working out every day and coaching and this and that and posting these health things. You know what? Some of you have babies. Some of you have husbands. I have my workouts. This is my job. I love it. I'm super passionate about it, and I can't wait to share it with other people. So if you are interested, I do have the Wellness Coach business page if you do want to follow there, but I'll also be sharing some additional content. I'll post it in the comments below, an invite to a special group that will be totally private. And I will throw you in it if you want to see more each day. I'm going to take them off my personal page slowly, and I'll be sharing those motivational moments, advice, quotes, articles, my blog articles, any questions anybody has, doing Q&As, free guides, things like that. I'll show you where that group is. Look in the comments below. I'd love to have your support. I'd love to have you part of my community so we can just continue this conversation, and I look forward to helping so many of you women out there. All right, ladies, maybe a few gents, have a great day. Bye-bye.